Baylor football has named its starting quarterback for 2023, and it is not Sawyer Robertson.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am sweaty because I just worked out alongside Cameron Stewart.
Sure you did.
Alongside Cameron Stewart, who's donning a cowboy hat and a Baylor jersey today. Cops does not come on until 4. Thank you for making Locked On Baylor genuinely your first listen every single day. To our everydayers, you'll remember we've been doing shows every week where I say Blake Shapen will be Baylor's starting quarterback, and now it has been officially announced this guy is Baylor's starting quarterback. Blake Samillion Shapen.
For those of you on the listening on the podcast, you will be left in suspense until September 1st.
Jump scare if you're on the YouTube. That guy's starting quarterback. He's going to sit there for a little bit. Cam, initial thoughts?
Baylor out of context. Baylor no context right here. Thoughts. I mean, we've said it before on these airwaves. I'm not shocked at all. Right. I mean, and my dad sent me kind of a snarky text today that was like, how are the ticket sales with Shapen being named starter? I was like, what did you expect, man?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. I know we all get super hopeful when a guy comes in through the portal, but like threw a handful of passes last year in a drastically different offense, and he just got to campus. And look, I have some hope for him in the future too, but like if you didn't think it was going to be Blake Shapen the whole time, I don't know what to tell you, brother. This is what it is. And honestly, let's ride. This is what it is.
Wait a second. What if you like this guy?
I like him too, man.
Can you still like Sawyer Robertson?
I think you can. I think it's allowed. And I think you can say, well, we like, the things we heard about Sawyer Robertson, and we're excited that he's on the team. And hey, if Blake starts to struggle like he did towards the tail end of last season, we know we have a guy who can step in there and make some things exciting. That's okay too. I wouldn't bet on it with the way we saw Kyron Drones used last year, but it's there. It's an option.
But then what do you have to say about rooting for this guy, Blake Shapen?
Look, man, for lack of a better term, you don't have much other choice, man. You can go ahead and not be a Baylor fan. That's sick, bro. Go ahead. But Blake Shapen, first off, I mean, we hear all the time, Drake, about how we're too negative because we didn't see the bad years and the years where we didn't win any conference games and couldn't get anyone to go to the Floyd and all that. Let me tell you, at least in my time, since I started at Baylor 8 years ago, right? We've had worse quarterbacks than Blake Shapen. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you that much. Okay. And we had worse quarterback situations than what we're going into right now. And that guy that everyone hated on in 2020 kind of saved us as a freshman when we were going 1-11 in 2017. So we'll talk more about him later, but it could get a lot worse than having Blake Shapen as your quarterback, man. It really could. And we've seen this kid when he's at his best, or what we've seen as his best so far as a freshman, 17 for 17 against one of the best Big 12 defenses of the last decade. That is still there. And we saw it early in the season last year. Those numbers dropped dramatically after the head injury that didn't even keep him out for one game, by the way, knocked him out of that West Virginia game. He played the next week against Kansas, even though that was doubtful. Didn't miss a game after that. But the numbers dropped precipitously after we started to see him get into a groove, specifically with that Iowa State game, that win on the road to open up Big 12 play, and then a godly first half against West Virginia. So what I mean to say by that, Drake, is the potential is absolutely there, and there's still a lot of upside to this guy. And look, I was upset too at the end of the year. I was frustrated too. We all were. But the upside is still there, and there were a lot more problems on last year's team outside of the quarterback position.
So then, are you upset that a quarterback has been named so early on by this guy?
No,
Dave
because I look at that smile, man, and I'm just
I'll melt your heart.
Take me
The Chicks, not to be confused with the Dixie Chicks. Two very different things.
No, it doesn't really matter. We kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago. It doesn't really matter much because you haven't seen much of Sawyer Robertson. So obviously this is going to be the choice. And I don't know if you know this, Drake. I think a lot of people are confused about this. Baylor will face no sanctions. They won't have to forfeit any games or anything if they do decide Sawyer Robertson starts game 1. They're not going to get penalized if that happens, okay? So all that to say, we knew this was happening. We knew Blake Shapen was going to be named the starter, and it doesn't matter if he gets named that on May 23rd or August 29th. Doesn't matter. They don't play any games yet. So I'm not surprised. This is what we got. And I do think he starts game 1.
Okay. So
wow, this is it. This is it. I feel good. I'm not surprised. And all right, call it a day.
It was a good monologue. I still am a little perplexed as to why now. What is the point now? Don't. Okay. Here's why I like this call. I'll be on the.
The fact that the call was made, or that it's Blake.
The fact that it's Blake, because I do believe that Blake is the leader of the locker room. Everything that I've seen, every person that I've talked to, everybody around the team has been around Blake Shapen being the guy next season. He is the leader of this team. So it surprises me not that this has taken place. However, guess who doesn't know that? Literally every other person who exists in college football. You don't have to say this. You don't have to come out and tell them who your quarterback is. The locker room can know. But the media, the general public doesn't have to. You can go all off season, letting the fans wonder. And then you get to the fall and you say, guess who had a great fall camp and a great offseason? Blake Shapen. He's our starter. Instead, the optics, at least, it's, you didn't even let Sawyer go through fall camp, learn the playbook, get a little, his feet wet a little bit. Instead, you went out and you made your call. But you know what? You can't comment on that. You know why? Because this is who you are.
Yes, man.
Riding the Shapen train.
Am I riding it, Drake, or am I conducting the Blake train?
You and Evan Hebert both.
I am conducting this. And I think Evan and I kind of have the same reasoning as to why. We're both Charlie Brewer guys too. But yes, I'm absolutely riding with this because of what I said in the monologue, man. I mean, we've seen the upside of this kid, and the downside's not great, but it's not as bad as we've seen in the past. And honestly, this is no shade on Gerry Bohanon, but some of Blake's worst stretches last year weren't all that different from Gary's passing numbers in 2021. And you won some games that year, Drake, kind of more than any other team in Baylor history. And I think it was Evan who made the point that was like, look, the quarterback play has never been the end-all be-all for Baylor. Maybe the RG3 Heisman year because he was the best player in college football.
Even that, you had a running back.
It was part, yeah. And it was, obviously a bigger part of the offense, and you had some great all Big 12 players around him. But at least from then on, that has not been the end-all be-all, and it certainly won't be under a Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes type of play style. And if it is, that means you have one of the best quarterbacks in college football. So,
Cam, since I'm playing with this fun new feature that I've learned on Restream, what do you think about this?
Big fan. Big fan. Would love to be wearing some.
You've seen, at least in pants, my butt, right?
Yeah. I have the privilege.
I get comments sometimes based on the certain pants that I wear.
I get some too, not outside of the house I share with my girlfriend, but I get them.
Most of the comments that I've gotten have been from you, which is sus within itself. Have you seen me wear bird dogs yet?
No. And you know what? I think this is important. I wish I had known this ahead of time because there's another picture you should put on the screen. I believe it was Baylor versus Kansas State in the McLean Stadium press box this past year, where you notably were not wearing bird dogs and disaster struck. Disaster.
I did split my pants because of my badonkadonk.
And he ripped his pants.
bird dogs, Labrador retrievers, German shepherds. No, not German shepherds. German short hairs in my shorts. All bird dogs. I got 2 pair of shorts for free from this company because I love Locked On. Not because I do love Locked On. That's not why I got it. I just got I love them because they gave me shorts. 2 pairs free bird dogs. And they hug my figure. I walk down the street and people get in car accidents. They don't recognize me, frankly. With I wore them the other day. My mom goes, "Are those Lulu shorts?" I said, "No, Mom, they're bird dogs. Even better." You will love your bird dogs. They are much cheaper than actually buying a bird dog. German short hairs are not cheap animals, albeit still animals. Right now, I can give you a promo and an offer. You can get free Yeti tumbler if you go to Bird Dogs right now. They fit great. I look great. They're comfortable. They're very stretchy. They're versatile. They have built-in underwear, which I don't usually like, but I like them now. I didn't wear a pair of underwear like 3 days ago because I was wearing my Bird Dogs for the first time in probably 10 years. And I didn't feel uncomfortable for some reason. That's a true story. I lie to you sometimes. I didn't right there. Dave Portnoy even wears them. So go buy some Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. When you enter the promo code Locked On College, they'll throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. Enter promo Locked On College. Get a free Yeti style tumbler from Bird Dogs. Cam, you got to buy some of those, man.
I know, man. They're great. I've actually worn a pair from a friend once. I almost took them.
So
I feel good. I look really good in this ring light today. Now I can feel good in Bird Dogs, is what you're telling me.
In this conversation we've had about quarterbacks, I saw over the course of that break, people watching on YouTube cannot see you behind the scenes, but I can as the host. I can see what you're doing behind the scenes. Yeah. People can hear you on the audio as well. You were holding up 2 pieces of paper, it seemed. Cam, can you please help me out with that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Drake, because we had so much fun with the movies thing yesterday that I thought, why not? Let's play a little game, okay? You mind if we do that? You mind if we play a little game?
Play a game for sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold up 2 sheets. We're gonna need to read out some of the stats because we got a lot of podcast listeners. But it's gonna be 2 quarterbacks, okay, just based off their numbers, okay?
By the numbers.
And to make things fair, I'm gonna make it these 2 quarterbacks in their sophomore season. Yes, those 2 guys right there. 2 guys in their sophomore season, okay? Quarterback 1, quarterback 2. I'm going to try and move this. So quarterback 1, 65% completion percentage. That's pretty good. Over 3,000 yards, 3,302 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. That's a lot, Drake. So let's look at quarterback number 2. A little bit less. Oh, my God. There we go. 63% completion percentage.
Which is lower than quarterback 1.
Yep, just under 2,800 yards, 18 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. So still not a great ratio, but keeping the ball in his team's hands a lot more than QB1. So who you picking in this one?
QB1's got more yardage and a better completion percentage. At the same time, QB2 has fewer interceptions. Significantly fewer interceptions. I'm going to go QB2 for that reason because things are pretty similar until that one.
All right, awesome. You know what? I'm gonna keep this a mystery for the folks at home for now.
Again, it's okay. QB2, 63%. QB1, 65% completion. QB2, 2,800 yards. QB1, 3,200 yards.
Yep.
QB2 has 18 touchdowns. QB1, 22 touchdowns. All of those things are very similar. Then QB2 has 10 interceptions. QB1 has 18. Do I understand all of that correctly?
Yeah, you got that all correct.
Great.
Do you want to take a peek behind the curtain at who QB number 1 was? The one you did not select? The one you said was the worst of the 2?
Sure.
Again, this is only the sophomore season, okay? You picked
Max Duggan,
first team All-American quarterback, 2-time Heisman finalist, and the guy who retired from college football as college football's all-time winningest quarterback, Texas Longhorn legend Colt McCoy from 2007. So he's not as good as this mystery quarterback number 2. Let's keep that in mind.
18 interceptions in Colt McCoy's sophomore season.
18 interceptions. All right, I'm going to keep things fair because I know we got some Longhorns fans that listening, and they say, Cam, look, your old boy Colt McCoy had an awesome freshman season, though, when he was the starter. Okay, fine. I'll cop to that. Had a bad sophomore season, really good freshman season. So, okay, fine. We'll just go from now on, quarterbacks playing in their first full season. How about that? You okay with that, Drake?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to example number 2.
This is quarterback.
So quarterback 2 stays the same, and here quarterback 1, just 56% completion percentage, 2,500 yards, only 13 touchdowns, but only 4 picks. Okay, still compared to QB2, who was a good 7% better in the completion percentage. Threw for more yards, threw for more touchdowns, but did throw for some more picks. So who are you taking in here, QB1 versus QB2?
Well, it's 5 more touchdowns, despite the 6 interception difference. There's a game's worth of more yardage and significantly better completion percentage. QB2 has 7% better completion percentage, 200 more yards, 5 more touchdowns, those 6 more interceptions. I give me QB2 for the hell of it.
Oh, okay. So we're sticking with QB2. We'll keep him a mystery. How about we reveal what's behind door number 1? That is first-year starter, Stanford Cardinal, and from Stratford High School in Houston. You might have heard of him. Andrew Luck?
I have. What's he up to now, huh?
Yeah, he had a decent career playing football after that. Had a decent college career after that. Okay, but you're sticking with the mystery quarterback. Okay, Again, going with first year starting, new QB1. And I had to take some liberties with this one, Drake, because the passing numbers were pretty bad. And this kid could run a little bit. So I said, all right, let's add kind of the all-purpose to this. So still 58.7% completion percentage. And I added the total yards. I did the total yards here, 2153.
Oh.
And that is almost 1,000 yards rushing. Good runner, okay? 17 total touchdowns, but only 6 of them through the air. So passing 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
So what you're showing me here is QB1 was really, really bad passer, like horrifically bad passer in their first complete season as a starter. QB2 in their first complete season as a starter was more than serviceable. Therefore, give me QB2.
All right, sticking with QB2. You want to know who QB1 is, Drake?
A terrible passer, that's who.
Yeah, he did improve. And went on to win a national championship.
Oh, what? Vince Young? Was that bad at throwing the ball?
Yes, and he played all 13 games that year. So don't.
He had more interceptions than touchdown passes. His first complete starting season.
He absolutely did. Quarterback 2 didn't. All right, we got 2 more here. Okay, we'll go through this maybe a little bit quicker. Okay. Because you know QB2 stats. Even you people on the podcast by now, you know QB2 stats. But
QB2, 2,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 63% completion percentage. Now, QB1, the new QB1 that we're comparing, has a 10% worse completion percentage.
Yuck, man.
800 fewer yards, 3 fewer touchdowns, and still the same amount of interceptions. QB1 blows. Give me QB2 in this battle far and away again.
QB1 does blow, and I was defending that a lot on Twitter yesterday.
QB1,
this is
53%.
This is America's darling QB1. Max
Duggan. He's
2019, 53% completion percentage. Folks, he was the starter that year. You remember, he was out of bounds against Baylor. Max Duggan, not as good as mystery quarterback number 2. All right, one last one. You ready for this?
Yeah, for sure.
This is the closest one I could find, okay? So this could be a toss-up, okay? QB1, QB2. QB1, a little 61.5% completion percentage, pretty close.
Yeah.
Just over 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 picks. Man, this is 6 of one, half dozen of the other, isn't it, Drake?
Yeah, these are really tight stats. Oh, QB1 stats are better, but I've ridden this horse the whole way. At this point, I'm curious. Give me QB2 in this battle.
Okay, so you're saying QB2 is better or worse? We're sticking with better.
I'm sticking with QB2 being better in this scenario.
It's your call. It's your call, man. Okay, QB1 had 2 all Big 12 outside receivers on his team, okay? And this was his first full season starting, and it was also his sophomore year. Ladies and gentlemen,
Jarrett Stidham.
2018's Charlie Brewer.
Wow.
Almost identical stats to mystery quarterback number 2. If you don't know, now you know. That is 2022's Blake Shapen. So Drake Toll, noted college football analyst is telling me that his sophomore season
Shapen
was better than Colt McCoy's? Okay. You're telling me his first season starting is better than Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
Wait, Vince Young? No, certainly not Max Duggan, who absolutely got robbed of the Heisman. And definitely no way it's better than my guy, Chucky Brewhouse. Well,
Chucky Brew.
Folks, it kind of was. Okay. Was it the best season by a Baylor quarterback? No. Was it good enough to win 10 games, which a lot of people thought this team would do? No, it wasn't. But all that to say, it's not damning his future. Okay? He's got 2 more full seasons left. And clearly, as you can see, I mean, this guy became something, right? Duggan, by the time he finished his college career. How about Vince Young? Did he become something?
He was all right.
He was all right, wasn't he? Andrew Luck didn't win the Heisman either. None of these guys won the Heisman, by the way. So maybe there's no Heisman in Blake Shapen's future, but maybe there's a national championship game in his future, a Big 12 championship again.
Vince Young also played for national championship, as did Colt McCoy.
He did pretty well in that one too, didn't he? So all that to say, we don't know what's coming down the pike. Your last 8 games of 2022, when he was possibly playing a little bit compromised in a big part of the quarterback's body, the mind is important. When he's playing compromised at that part of his body, he is still better than all those guys' first season starting.
Huh.
Did that surprise you, Drake?
It did. It did. It showed me that if the quarterbacks can be developed at Baylor by Jeff Grimes and Sean Bell, which I hope they can. There was regression with Charlie Brewer, which worries me. I hope he doesn't.
Yes, true. After a better next season.
Right. I hope he doesn't become really good and then regress. I asked Twitter what they thought. How do they feel about Blake Shapen being named Baylor's quarterback? 6.5% said, this is great. You were part of that 6.5%. Yeah. I'm cool with it. Got 50% of the vote. 30% of people said, oof, I don't like it. And a whopping 14% said, we are doomed. So really, really split results on what Baylor fans think. About half of them think this is a bad thing, and about half of them think this is an okay to good thing.
Yeah.
Stephen Cohn says, 3rd year in Grimes' system, revamped O-line, insanely talented backfield, more healthy weapons on the outside. Though, Baylor fans have a bad taste in their mouth about last season. Last year came and went. New year, new season, new team, all in on Shapen. Crankbait
yeah.
says beginning of the end of the Aranda era. And I'm not in the business of doing a show. I'm not going to give my left nut to do a show entitled "Is Dave Aranda the right fit for Baylor?" I would never do that. I don't even need my left nut. I'm not even using that.
You really
anymore.
only need one. That's where all the piss is stored.
So I could just give that away. So I would never do that show, but I don't think I hope this is not the beginning of the end of the Aranda era.
I doubt it, again, because of the whole, this is not the NFL and the AFC North, okay? It's not the end-all, be-all, dying with the quarterback. And I mentioned that Charlie Brewer comparison, and I've said it so many times on this show. We remember Charlie Brewer only for 2020, and it was bad. It was bad with Larry Fedora. But we forget that after that 2018 season we just talked about a few minutes ago, Baylor went in with no expectations. They didn't exactly know what they were getting out of the quarterback position, but they felt good about it. By the way, that's coming off a 6-6 regular season. What was Baylor's regular season record last year?
6-7.
Oh, no, regular season record was 6-6. Thank you, Drake. Anyway, in 2019, Charlie did a little bit better. 64.5% completion percentage, 3,200 yards, 21 touchdowns to 7 interceptions.
Should have won the Heisman.
And they went to the Big 12 championship game.
Snubbed. And the Sugar Bowl.
But they did go to the Big 12 championship game. And I would say have some faith. All right. I know revamped offensive line is probably a little bit strong for me. It's revamped in that it's new. I don't know that it's better. Charlie definitely had better weapons than Blake Shapen did last year. But I think we have some confidence, okay, that these guys have another year in their system. Clearly, Monterey Baldwin, big-time weapon. Blake's running back room this year, much better than Charlie's really young running back room in 2018, by the way, which matured in 2019, and you saw the results. I think Baylor has a running back room that's just as good as that 2019 one. All that to say, Drake, I don't have the feeling before 2021, but I do have that cautious optimism I had going into 2019.
Cam likes this call. Cam likes the call. Blake Shapen's
I knew the call was coming.
Yeah.
I'd love to have Caleb Williams as the quarterback, but he's not. This is what we got. And if he turns into a 2019 Charlie Brewer season, y'all, that's pretty damn good for what Baylor's at, for what the Big 12 is at. Okay, this is not the Bryles offense, and it's not Bryles' Big 12 anymore.
Yeah,
that's going to win you a lot of games if he gives you 2019 Charlie Brewer.
This is Locked On Baylor. Drake Toll from Sports Illustrated's Inside the Bears. That's Cameron Stewart from Our Daily Bears or something. I don't know what you're from. Thanks for making Locked On Baylor.
Massachusetts.
That's right. It's Evan Abair from Our Daily Bears, who also really likes Blake Shapen.
You see, Drake, even in the battle between man and steer, the outcome is uncertain.
Who said it? What quote? The light in my life has gone dim.
Me after the last Celtics game? After
Teddy
the
Roosevelt.
Celtics season ended last night?
Teddy Roosevelt. His wife and his mom died on the same day. This has been, it always will be. Please come back tomorrow because we're going to talk about Blake Shapen again.
Is that an Oedipus thing? Did Freud study that?
Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. If I already said that, I'm sorry. I guess I said it again.
Thank you.
Baylor.